In a small, peaceful village surrounded by mountains, there lived an old farmer named Ethan. Ethan was known far and wide for his wisdom and calm nature. No matter how hard life became, Ethan always found a way to stay patient and hopeful. People often came to him for advice, curious about his secret to peace and happiness. One day, a frustrated young man named Liam approached Ethan. "Why is my life so difficult?" Liam asked. "I work hard, but nothing seems to go right. How do you stay so patient and hopeful even when life is unfair?" Ethan smiled and replied, "Let me tell you a story about bamboo. Years ago, when I was a young farmer, I struggled to make a living from my land. The soil was dry and nothing grew easily. One day an old traveler passed by and handed me a handful of bamboo seeds. 'Plant these and they will bring you great rewards,' he said. I didn't understand his words but decided to trust him. I planted the seeds carefully and began to water them every day. The sun was harsh and the land was barren, but I didn't give up. I believed something good would come from my effort. Months passed, and there was no sign of growth. My neighbors began to laugh at me. 'Why waste your time on seeds that won't grow?' they said. Their words hurt, but I kept watering the seeds. I told myself, 'Patience. Good things take time.' 1 year passed, then 2, then 3. Still, nothing happened. The field looked just as empty as the day I planted the seeds. My patience was tested every day, but I didn't stop. On the 5th year, something incredible happened. Tiny green shoots finally appeared. I couldn't believe my eyes. After years of nothing, the bamboo had begun to grow. In just 6 weeks, those tiny shoots grew into towering bamboo stalks, over 80 feet tall. The growth was so fast it seemed like a miracle. My neighbors, who had mocked me, now stood in awe. My neighbors asked, "How did this happen?" I explained. For 5 years, the bamboo was growing its roots underground, creating a strong foundation. It was preparing for this moment. The growth you see now is the result of years of unseen work. I realized then that life is just like bamboo. Sometimes we work hard but see no results. It doesn't mean our efforts are wasted. It means we are building our foundation for future growth. Patience is the key. I decided to share the bamboo seeds with my neighbors. "Plant these," I said, "and trust the process. Don't give up, no matter how long it takes." Slowly, the village began to change. Over the years, the village transformed. The fields became green again, and the people became hopeful. They learned to trust in the process, just like I did. Now, as I sit beneath my bamboo grove, I reflect on the journey. It wasn't just about growing bamboo. It was about growing patience, faith, and resilience. Those seeds didn't just change my field, they changed my life. After hearing my story, Liam looked at me with a newfound understanding. "I see now," he said. "I need to trust the process and keep working, even if I can't see results right away." My dear friend, life is like bamboo. The most important growth happens where you can't see it, deep inside. Be patient, stay consistent, and trust that your efforts will bear fruit in time. Good things are waiting for you.
This story is about the Little Leaf Fairy, Chapter 1, where we meet Lily and her magical journey in the forest. Once upon a time, in a quiet forest, there lived a little fairy named Lily. She was not an ordinary fairy. Lily was the leaf fairy, and her job was to care for the trees and leaves in the forest. Every morning, she woke up early to greet the trees and check if their leaves were healthy and strong. Lily had golden wings that shone like the sun. Her hair was long and brown, and she always wore a white dress tied with a simple brown ribbon. On her head, she had small flowers and branches, which made her look like part of the forest. Wherever Lily flew, the leaves would follow her, twirling and dancing in the air. One day, as Lily was flying through the forest, she noticed something strange. The leaves were falling from the trees too soon. It wasn't autumn yet, but the ground was covered in yellow leaves. Lily knew she had to do something quickly. She landed on a soft bed of leaves and spoke to the trees. "What's happening? Why are your leaves falling so early?" she asked. One of the oldest trees replied, "The wind has been too strong this season. It is shaking our branches, and our leaves cannot hold on any longer." Lily thought for a moment and said, "Don't worry, I will help you." She flew to the top of the tallest tree in the forest and called upon her magic. With a wave of her hand, a gentle breeze began to blow. It was not too strong, but just enough to make the trees sway slowly. The leaves stopped falling, and the trees stood tall and proud again. From that day on, Lily visited the forest every morning to make sure the wind stayed calm and gentle. The leaves grew stronger, and the forest remained green and full of life. The other fairies admired Lily for her hard work and kindness. They said, "You are the best leaf fairy we have ever known." Lily smiled and said, "I only do what the forest needs. Every leaf is important, just like every one of us." And so Lily continued her work, flying through the forest, helping the leaves grow and making sure the trees were always happy.
In the quiet village of Eldermere, nestled between rolling hills and a sparkling lake, there was a rumor that no one dared to speak aloud. The forest could talk. The Whispering Forest, as it was called, lay just beyond the edge of the village. It wasn't dark or frightening. In fact, it was beautiful. The trees stood tall and proud, their green leaves shimmering like emeralds in the sunlight. Birds sang sweet melodies, and gentle breezes carried the scent of wildflowers. But the villagers all said the same thing: "Don't go too deep into the forest." Why? No one could explain. Some claimed they had heard voices coming from the trees. Others said the forest didn't like being disturbed. Children told stories of travelers entering the woods and forgetting their way out. But 12-year-old Clara didn't believe in such things. Clara loved the forest. She often sat under the shade of the trees, drawing pictures of the animals and plants she saw. She never heard whispers, never felt afraid. To her, the forest felt alive in a way that was comforting, not scary. One crisp autumn morning, Clara woke up to find something unusual. A small bird with golden feathers was tapping on her window. She had never seen a bird like this before. As soon as she opened the window, it hopped inside and chirped loudly, flapping its wings. "What's wrong?" Clara asked. The bird fluttered to her desk, pecking at her sketchbook. Then it flew toward the door as if it wanted her to follow. Curious and excited, Clara grabbed her scarf and followed the bird outside. It led her toward the Whispering Forest. For a moment, she hesitated. The villagers' warnings echoed in her mind. But the bird turned back to look at her, chirping urgently. "All right," Clara said. "Just for a little while." The forest was even more beautiful that day. The sunlight danced through the branches, painting golden patterns on the ground. The bird led Clara deeper than she had ever gone before. Suddenly, it stopped on a low branch and chirped 3 times. Clara looked around. At first, she saw nothing unusual, but then she noticed a strange tree. Its trunk was much wider than the others, and its bark was silver, not brown. It shimmered in the sunlight, almost as if it were glowing. She stepped closer, and that's when she heard it. Finally, someone brave enough to come. Clara froze. The voice was soft, like the rustling of leaves, but it was unmistakable. She looked around. "Who's there?" "It's me," the voice said again. "The tree." Clara stared at the silver tree. "You're talking to me?" "Yes," said the tree. "You're not afraid, are you?" Clara shook her head. "Not really. I just didn't know trees could talk." "Not all of us can," the tree replied. "Only the ancient ones, and we only speak when we must." "Why are you speaking now?" Clara asked. The tree sighed, and its branches swayed gently. "Because the forest is in trouble." The tree explained that something was happening deep within the Whispering Forest. The animals were restless, the streams were drying up, and the air felt heavy. "I fear that something dangerous has awakened," the tree said, "and we need your help." Clara blinked in surprise. "Me? What can I do?" "You are kind and curious," said the tree, "and you see the forest as a friend, not a stranger. That gives you the strength to help us." Before Clara could ask more, the golden bird chirped again and flew off into the woods. "Follow it," the tree said. "It will guide you." Clara hesitated. The deeper parts of the forest were unknown to her, but the tree's words stayed with her. "All right," she said, "I'll do it." The bird led Clara on a long journey. The trees grew taller and darker, and the air felt colder. She saw animals she had never seen before: foxes with silvery fur, glowing insects, and rabbits with ears so long they touched the ground. But none of them seemed happy. They all looked nervous, scurrying away as she passed. Finally, Clara reached a clearing. In the center was a large black stone. It pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat. Around it, the grass had withered and the trees looked sickly. The golden bird landed on Clara's shoulder, chirping softly. She stepped closer to the stone, feeling its strange energy. As she reached out, a shadowy figure emerged from behind it. The figure was tall and thin, its body made of swirling black mist. "Who dares disturb me?" it hissed. Clara took a deep breath. "I'm here to help the forest." The figure laughed, a cold, hollow sound. "Help? The forest belongs to me now." "What are you?" Clara asked, trying to keep her voice steady. "I am the shadow spirit," it said. "I feed on fear and despair. The forest has plenty of both." Clara thought quickly. "You don't belong here," she said. "The forest is full of life and light. You can't take that away." The shadow spirit loomed closer. "And how will you stop me, little girl?" Clara looked at the golden bird. Its feathers glowed brighter, and suddenly she understood. The forest's light was still there. It just needed to be awakened. Clara reached into her bag and took out her sketchbook. She opened to a blank page and began to draw. She drew the trees as they were meant to be, strong and healthy. She drew the streams flowing with clear water. She drew the animals happy and free. As she drew, the golden bird's light grew brighter and the shadow began to shrink. "What are you doing?" the shadow spirit roared. "I'm showing the forest what it can be," Clara said. "You don't belong here." The light from the bird and the sketchbook spread across the clearing, chasing away the darkness. The shadow spirit let out a final scream before vanishing completely. The forest seemed to sigh in relief. The trees straightened, their leaves turning green again. The grass grew back and the animals returned, watching Clara with grateful eyes. When Clara returned to the silver tree, it was glowing brighter than ever. "You have done well," the tree said. "The forest will not forget your courage," Clara smiled. "It wasn't just me, the forest helped too." The golden bird chirped happily and flew off into the trees. Clara watched it go, feeling a deep sense of peace. From that day on, Clara became the guardian of the Whispering Forest. The villagers noticed that the forest seemed friendlier, and they stopped telling scary stories about it. But Clara knew the truth. The forest was alive, and it had a voice. You just had to listen.
In a quiet, dusty library, Sam discovered a leather-bound book on an old shelf. The book was filled with cryptic drawings and maps that spoke of a hidden treasure in Whispering Woods. The faint light from a nearby window illuminated the book, making the moment feel magical. Sitting at an old wooden desk, Sam studied the mysterious map he found in the ancient book. The faint glow of a lantern illuminated the details of the map, while the dusty shelves of books around him whispered of secrets long forgotten. Standing near a tall bookshelf, Sam held the ancient book in one hand, while pointing at a cryptic riddle on the page with the other. The dim light streaming from a high window made the text glow faintly, as if the book itself was alive with secrets. With a determined look, Sam closed the ancient book and slipped it into his bag. The faint golden light shining through the cracked window seemed to highlight his resolve. Surrounded by dusty shelves, Sam knew his journey was about to begin, and he was ready to face whatever lay ahead. Sam stepped cautiously into the forest, his flashlight in one hand and the map in the other. The towering trees twisted unnaturally, their branches creating shadows that danced in the mist. Every step felt like a whisper of the unknown, as if the woods themselves were alive and watching. Sam paused, shining his flashlight on a faintly glowing path that appeared between the twisted trees. The forest seemed alive, as if guiding him deeper into its secrets. Clutching his map tightly, he felt a mixture of fear and curiosity, unsure of what lay ahead. Sam stopped near a peculiar tree with roots shaped like claws gripping the earth. The forest's whispers seemed to grow louder, urging him to investigate further. He shone his flashlight at the twisted roots, his cautious expression revealing both curiosity and unease. Kneeling on the forest floor, Sam discovered an ancient carving hidden among the roots of a massive tree. He illuminated the intricate symbols with his flashlight, feeling as though the forest itself was guiding him toward its secrets. The whispers grew softer, as if encouraging him to continue. Sam stood in awe in front of a massive ancient oak tree, its twisted roots spreading across the forest floor like fingers gripping the earth. His flashlight illuminated the base of the tree, where he noticed something unusual. The air around him felt heavy with mystery, as though the tree itself was alive. Sam crouched near the base of the ancient oak tree, carefully brushing away leaves and dirt. His flashlight revealed an intricate symbol carved into the roots. He studied it with fascination, feeling as if he had uncovered a key to the forest's secrets. At the base of the massive oak tree, Sam uncovered a hidden trapdoor nestled among the twisted roots. He held his flashlight steady, illuminating the wooden hatch carved with ancient symbols. The discovery sent a shiver of excitement through him as he realized he was one step closer to the treasure. Sam slowly opened the hidden trapdoor at the base of the oak tree, revealing a dark spiral staircase descending into the earth. He shone his flashlight into the darkness, feeling a mix of curiosity and hesitation. The whispers of the forest seemed to grow quieter, as if waiting for him to take the next step. Sam stepped carefully down the spiral staircase, his flashlight casting long shadows on the damp stone walls. Glowing moss illuminated the path faintly, while the sound of dripping water echoed through the tunnel. The deeper he went, the more the tension grew, as if the tunnel held its own secrets. Sam moved cautiously through the narrow underground passageway, his flashlight revealing the damp walls covered in glowing moss. The greenish-blue glow created an otherworldly atmosphere, and the air grew colder as the tunnel curved ahead. He felt both wonder and unease as he ventured deeper. Reaching the edge of a vast cavern, Sam paused to take in the sight. The flashlight in his hand illuminated a large chamber ahead, its walls shimmering with glowing moss. Faint reflections of water danced on the ground, and Sam stood amazed, hesitating before stepping further into the mysterious space. In the heart of the cavern, Sam stood before an ancient chest adorned with carvings of stars and moons. The glow of the moss on the walls created a magical atmosphere as his flashlight illuminated the intricate details of the chest. His amazement grew as he prepared to unlock the secrets hidden within. Sam emerged from the underground tunnel into a vibrant, enchanted forest. Golden sunlight streamed through the trees, bathing the forest in a peaceful glow. Holding the scroll in his hand, he felt a deep sense of relief and accomplishment, knowing his journey had changed him forever. Sam walked through the vibrant forest, holding the scroll in one hand and gazing up at the sunlight breaking through the canopy. The trees stood tall and full of life, and he felt a deep sense of peace as he reflected on the journey and the wisdom he had gained. Sam sat on a mossy rock in the serene forest, carefully reading the scroll in his hands. The golden sunlight filtering through the trees illuminated the words, and he felt a deep connection to the wisdom the scroll revealed. It was a moment of quiet reflection and peace. Sam walked confidently toward the edge of the forest, the scroll in his hand and a peaceful expression on his face. The sunlight illuminated the path ahead, and the vibrant trees seemed to bid him farewell, signaling the end of a journey filled with discovery and growth.
Welcome to Learn with Dream Words. Today, we're going to explore the life of one of the most inspiring leaders in history, Nelson Mandela. But this isn't just a story about history. It's a story about hope, courage, and the power of forgiveness. As we dive into Mandela's life, you'll learn new English words, improve your listening skills, and discover how one man's dream changed the world. Ready? Let's go. The Power of Dreams. A boy from a small village. Imagine a small village in South Africa where a young boy named Rolihlahla Mandela grew up. His name meant troublemaker, but Nelson was anything but that. He was curious, kind, and full of dreams. As a child, Nelson loved listening to stories from his elders. They spoke about a time when his people were free, before their land was taken away. These stories planted a seed in Nelson's heart, a dream of freedom and equality for all. What dreams do you have for your future? How can you work toward them, just like Nelson did? The fight for justice. As Nelson grew older, he saw the pain and suffering caused by apartheid, a system that separated people based on their skin color. Black South Africans were treated unfairly. They couldn't vote, go to good schools, or even live where they wanted. Nelson knew this was wrong. He became a lawyer and joined the African National Congress, a group fighting for equality. But the government didn't like this. They arrested Nelson and accused him of trying to overthrow the system. In 1964, Nelson was sentenced to life in prison. But even behind bars, he didn't give up. He became a symbol of hope for millions of people. The Long Walk to Freedom, 27 years in prison. Nelson spent 27 years in prison, most of it on Robben Island, a cold and lonely place. But instead of becoming bitter, he used this time to grow stronger. He read books, studied, and even taught other prisoners. One of the most amazing things about Nelson was his ability to forgive. He believed that anger and hate only create more pain. Instead, he chose to focus on building a better future for everyone. Have you ever faced a difficult situation? How did you handle it? Nelson's story teaches us that even in the darkest times, we can choose hope and kindness. Freedom at last, a new beginning. In 1990, the world celebrated as Nelson Mandela was finally released from prison. Crowds cheered, and people cried tears of joy. But Nelson didn't stop there. He worked tirelessly to end apartheid and bring peace to South Africa. In 1994, something incredible happened. For the first time, all South Africans, black and white, were allowed to vote. Nelson Mandela was elected as the country's first black president. It always seems impossible until it's done. A legacy of love and unity. As president, Nelson didn't seek revenge. Instead, he focused on reconciliation, bringing people together. He started programs to improve education, healthcare, and housing for all South Africans. Nelson Mandela's life reminds us that one person can make a difference. His courage, forgiveness, and love for humanity continue to inspire people around the world. How can you make a difference in your community? What small steps can you take to create a better world? Thank you for listening. Nelson Mandela's story is a powerful reminder that no matter how hard life gets, we can choose to be kind, brave, and hopeful. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Learn with DreamWords for more inspiring stories that help you learn English. See you in the next video.